Free socks. Free socks.
I've been doing this show since 2018 in some kind of format or another. From Pittsburgh Steelers to pulp culture to interviews to professional wrestling. Um, and I've been a wrestling fan all my life. Since I was a kid, when I went to the Civic Arena, when my neighbor Tippy Roofner took me to the Civic Arena to see WWF wrestling, and I saw Hulk Hogan for the first time. I got a program because my mom and dad gave me a little bit of cash holding to take. Um, and I got a Hulkster headband. Um, and I think the Hogan was fighting Don Morocco. Um, and I knew he had some health issues. I didn't know how bad. And I didn't I don't know how to um talk on this kind of format like this because I don't know. So the words might come out wrong. Um, and it just sucks. Because I'll be next week I'll be 54 years old. And when you get older, it kind of you look at things a little differently. So and I don't know who's listening to this, and I don't know, but you know, it just sucks. Like we this week we lost Ozzy, and I mean, I was growing up as a kid watching the Huxtables, the Cosby Show, which I did. I mean, that's the part of life. Um, but Hogan, um, was a larger than life character, such as Ozzy was a larger than life character, and I just can use this format because I have a format to use to express how my thoughts on the passing of, one of the man on Mount Rushmore. A lot of people, some people might not think that, but honestly, I really don't care. But the thing is, it's just something that's, I mean, it's bad when you see even friends that you haven't seen in a while pass. So, and that's hard too. Um, I haven't seen my friends, like all of them, in a while. I've been trying to do my own life, but also too, it just sucks because, it's just part of your childhood, and I felt that way when, Carrie Fisher passed, and people from Star Wars passed, because I remember in 1977 when I was a little kid. I mean, that's what I loved, and that's what I saw. And I also, I love the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know, um, and I love pro wrestling, and I love comic books. I mean, I can't help it, and that's just the way it is. But I mean, today, it's something that um, it's hard to grasp, because I mean, and the sad part about it is this AI crap You don't know what's real, and you do not know what's fake anymore. People just toy with your emotions, and it's just ridiculous. Um, it's just terrible. Like last night, I was watching stuff from Ozzy's concerts to whatever. I mean, and then I never thought I knew Hogan was not in good health, but I didn't know how bad. But his wife said he was doing good. I've never met Hulk Hogan in my life. I never met him. I know a lot of people that have. I never got an opportunity to. The closest I would have got was one time. I think the APWF was with Lumberjack LaRue. He was in he was in Pennsylvania at the time, and I think he was doing autographs at the Robinson Mall or something, and I had to help move or do something. And then on June 19th, I had off. And then me and my coworker, Mr. Cresco, I was going to drive. And he had that American beer case, you know what I mean? Cases and cases. He was promoting that. And we were going to go. And I would have went. But he canceled it due to he had health conditions. But I mean, and then today I'm at work and Roy come back from doing what he was doing, and he told me, he's like, Hulk Hogan just passed away. And I'm like, what? So let's just put it this way, people. When you're in a room with 20, a lot of people, okay, it sucks. So I just jumped out of my chair a little bit and I sat back down. And I just, my sister was sitting across from me at the staff table, and I just, oh, this is hard. I just broke down, and then I went in the back, and then my sister went to check on me. God bless her. And some of my coworkers checked on me. My phone blew up like I've never seen anything in my entire life. My brother-in-law texted me, asked me if I was okay. My friends who know that I love wrestling asked me if I was okay. My mother texted me, and my wife texted me. Oh fuck, this is hard. And I'm not even getting into uh, the thrill of the Hulkster yet. Um, and I was this bad when Piper passed away too, but I did not have this format. And I was bad when Dusty passed away. I didn't have this format. So I had this format, and I figured, you know what? I figured I'm going to do it because, why? Why not? I can't honor him, and do it, but I can at least talk about him and what he meant to me. I mean, behind me, I have a picture of Hogan. Um, I have tons of action figures. I have his first action figure ever. Um, so it just sucks because I'm older, and when you're younger, you think nothing. You're invincible. You're great, and you're all that. But you know what? It just sucks. Like, and the sad part about it is, a lot of people I see on the internet are bashing him and stuff like that, and that's not cool. I am not a perfect individual, my own self. Okay, I have talked shit on people. I have done stuff. It is what it is. Um, he's done. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, I probably my room wouldn't be filled with wrestling. I would have never probably got in. Besides Piper, never got into professional wrestling. Um, when I was a kid, Hogan just destroyed everybody. Everybody that he was put up against, he destroyed. In one Saturday night's main event, King Kong Bundy and Don Morocco held on to him, and Bundy gave him the splash. Because the first WrestleMania it was Piper. It was the war to settle the score. And Piper was a big part of that on MTV, and then Mr. T come out of nowhere, and him and Hogan were off to the races in WrestleMania 1, Saturday night's main event. I feel you, brother. I feel you. And I was bad. I was bad, Mike, when Animal passed too. And when Hawk passed. Like those you got the Road Warriors, you got Piper, you got Hogan. To me, that was, that was my whatever growing up. I liked a lot of other people, but those were the top echelon of professional wrestlers. So um, and then he wrestled King Kong Bundy in a steel cage. Okay, and then years later I took a week off work to train because Lash had me booked against King Kong Bundy in a body slam match, and I look, my wrestling skills weren't the best. Okay, but you know what? You can't teach. You cannot teach being charismatic. That is something you can't teach. And I will say this is, when they're planting me in the ground, I'm fucking charismatic. So I didn't have the skills. I was a big dude. I lost. The Dice Man, God bless his soul, cost me that. And that is one match that I didn't get to have because if I'd had that one match, everything would have been cool and we wouldn't have had so much tragedy in the Allied Powers Wrestling Federation. So, and anyway, Hogan, in WrestleMania 3, Hogan did what they booked it with him and Andre, in the Pontiac Silverdome. I was in the parking lot. I recreated that scene of Hogan and Andre with Dr. Feelgood and the Milwaukee Mauler. There's a picture somewhere I have where the three of us recreated that scene in the parking lot of the Pontiac Silverdome. So, oh shit. So, look, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, nobody would be doing anything in wrestling. Nobody would be actually, and Vince carried. It was Vince and him that did it perfectly, and it would have never happened. I don't care what anybody says. Hogan took the ball, ran with it, scored touchdowns. Because if you got to work Hulk Hogan in his first title run, you always made money. I mean, it's just something. It was, you watch wrestling on Saturdays in the afternoon and Saturday night's main event. Come on, NBC was something huge, and this is a shocker because I didn't even see this. I didn't see this coming. So, and then Hogan, he had his title reigns. He lost to the Ultimate Warrior, and look, Hogan didn't put anybody over. Hogan did his own stuff, which can you blame him? Like if you can't, so he's hard on that. You know what I mean? But look, he gave to the business. He exploded the business so to make it good for everybody in future generations because it went like mainstream. Actually, it's a pulp culture. Hulk Hogan is pulp culture. He made pro wrestling pulp culture. As I'm looking at these action figures over here, I mean, I'm 50 years old. I got action figures, but and then he had a falling out with the WWE, and he went to WCW, and he reinvented himself, as a third man in NWO with Scott Hall, God bless him, and Kevin Nash. Now Nash is the last of the three, and Hogan was lifting weights his whole life. He was in shape. He was doing whatever, he had another nice run at WWE. He became champion. He wrestled Triple H. He wrestled Kurt Angle. He wrestled The Rock at WrestleMania. He went into WrestleMania as a heel, and in Canada he was loved. They looked at each other, and then he was a face, and he ended up a face. The rest of his career, he went down to TNA. Look, sometimes business is not that good. Sometimes you try to do more for business than you should. Maybe Hogan wasn't a business kind of individual. Look, he should have never banged his buddy's wife. Should have never happened. Should have never said what he said. That was a bad look. And people are getting whatever about his politics or whatever. Look, I don't care who you vote for. I don't care about your politics. but I would never wish anybody death. So, I mean, it's just sad. And yes, Larry, it's a sad day. And Superstar, love your promos, brother. If it wasn't for Hogan and all these other guys before us, the Superstar wouldn't be the guy he was without watching some wrestling when he was a kid and tying up his boots and getting in the ring and being as cocky and as arrogant as he can be because he's a professional wrestler. And not everybody can wrestle. So, yeah, it hit me hard. I mean, goddamn, I was fucking tearing up here. But just what Hogan made into the business for the business, for every wrestler, he paved the way. And I don't think I'll catch any slack. And if I do, I don't care. Like, some people don't like him, but he paved the way. You're not supposed to meet your heroes, they say, but you know what? Not everybody's perfect. And I'm sure somebody out there, mother effed me, behind my back, and then, they're saying hi to my face, so, yeah, oh, hey, Craig. Yes, that's cool. Yeah, besides, yeah, I don't care about anybody's political views when it comes to, I want to be entertained, and he did entertain. Now in Japan, he could actually fucking wrestle too. He was a star in Japan also. I don't know all his wins and losses and stuff like that, but I just it just sucks because he was doing this stuff with Eric Bischoff and Kurt Angle. He was doing this American amateur wrestling stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I never drank any of his American beer. I'm sorry, I never did. I haven't had a beer in a while anyway, and I should start. I should start drinking, but not really because my own personal health. I need to get back into it and focus. But it's hard because when you're not happy in situations, uh, professionally, it kind of weighs upon you. But I'm working through that, and you got to work through that. But my memories of Hogan was him and Piper, and even when it went to WCW, Piper put him in a sleeper hold, and he played that off because he went up against the NWO, and it was great. Like, look, Hulk Hogan was not your technical wrestler. He didn't have to be. Just the same as me. I didn't, and I wasn't very tech. And in the mid 2000s in my life, I mean, I dyed my hair blonde. I went out and got into a character which I never thought I'd ever, whatever. I guess I turned into the Bubster. I had, red tights, a weightlifting belt, a tank top with Bubba Mania. My hair was blonde. My eyes were blonde. My mustache, Fu Manchu, was blonde. I was out of shape, posing, feathered boas, had Kal-El's mom, Princess Jade, sometimes managing me in certain situations. I got my ass beat by Rick Steiner in Michigan. He broke my fucking nose. And he looked at me and he goes, Hulk Hogan, you're a heavyset Hulk Hogan. You're a heavyset Hulk Hogan wannabe in Michigan. I mean, he dropped me on my head and kicked my ass. That's funny. So I mean, yeah, and those, I wrestled Nikolai Volkov as the the Bubster. So to me, the connection that I have, I never met Hogan, but the connection that I have because I've had guys that I wrestled that he wrestled. I wrestled King Kong Bundy. I wrestled Jake Roberts. I wrestled Nikolai Volkov. I beat Nikolai Volkov in a Russian chain match. I mean, I didn't pin him, but I beat him. So those, and Nikolai, he wrestled Bruno Sammartino. So to me, those are connections that I have getting into being an independent wrestler that I never thought that I'd possibly would do. And now I'm a promoter, which is always hard. Being a podcaster is very, very hard. But without the iconic individual of Hulk Hogan, wrestling would have been in smoky filled gyms and smaller places. They might have been okay, but he took it and made it bigger. He's the blueprint on where we're at now. So today's been a bad day. I mean, everybody's just passing. It's just terrible. Like, oh my God. Like I wanted to come home today and go take my wife. We were going to go see Fantastic Four, and I'm going to go see it, but there's a stigma. I was like this when I was a little kid when John Wayne passed away. I was a young kid because I used to watch movies, so Hulk Hogan was this generation's, my generation's John Wayne. No, you don't got to thank me, Kenny. You don't have to thank me. I look. I love the wrestling business, like I love the Steelers, like I love comic books. The stuff that I love, I like to talk about on both of my shows, both of my channels. It's hard, but I love to do it. Yeah, I guess I have the gift of gab. Sometimes maybe a little too much. Maybe I get winded, and I just do whatever. I mean, my Facebook is just packed with tributes of independent wrestlers, of fans, of people that thanked Hulk Hogan for paving the way for what we are doing. So I mean, it's just I wish I would have met him. I didn't. Opportunities didn't come up, but you know, um, he's up there right now. Piper probably just gave him the eye gouge, and he's probably just maybe they're all playing a game of cribbage up there with Andre playing. I don't know, running the table. I don't know. Um, but this is a tragic situation. Uh, I mean, and then people bashing him on social media is not right. And then bashing anybody that passed away is not right. And the sad part about it, people, there's a lot of hate in the world, and people that have a lot of hate themselves. So I don't have a lot of hate. The only thing I hate is Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens. That's it. I mean, that that, that's all I hate. That's the team. But and I don't hate any wrestler. Sometimes I just follow other wrestlers than I do others. So, but yeah, I just wanted to come on and talk and just give my, I don't know if you call it a tribute or whatever, because I have this social platform, this experience page, which I love doing it. But I can give a little bit of back to the stuff I love, and I didn't think I was going to be able to to do it without getting emotional. I don't know, but hey, you know what? I'm a big dude. Things. You know, oh, it's crazy, brother. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, yeah, Rod. That right there is ridiculous. You know, they're sitting, and everybody's a keyboard warrior. You know what I mean? But you know, everybody, you have a right to say and believe what you want. And look, if he would have went down a different avenue in his political stance, people, whatever. Also, too, he said some stuff he shouldn't have said racially, and that's inexcusable. So but he passed away, and you shouldn't gloat when people pass away. That's probably not good. That's just my opinion. But like I said, who am I? I run a podcast show out of my house, and I scrape quarters together to, pay my water bill. you know. So yeah. Oh man, this is my nose is stuffy, but No, I mean, yeah, I cannot wait. I told Tammy, or I must have said something that the WWE tribute show. Yeah, yes, yeah, he is. The WWE tribute show for him should be over the top. And I remember the one for Dusty. I remember the one for Eddie Guerrero. I remember the one for Piper. Um, you know, well, you shouldn't. And I don't know why you're getting bashed by people. He paved the way, and if they don't understand that, Kyle, they have no clue. Stick to your grounds, kid, because you know what it is. It's cyberbullying. They fucking cyberbully online down in their mom's basement or whatever, or they're a 50-year-old guy that never went on a date or never got kissed by a girl or a guy or whatever. And they think they know all that. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, we wouldn't there wouldn't be WrestleManias. There wouldn't be this, we wouldn't be doing podcasting. And it's a shame that people. Oh, thanks, Mom. Yeah. So I mean, people just got nothing better to do, kid. And that's a shame, but don't ever change. Be who you are. You do what you love, kid. You love professional wrestling. You're very astute and knowledgeable about wrestling. Don't let these people get you down. You know what I mean? And you know a lot of. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Everybody's a keyboard warrior. It's just, you know, it's just ridiculous. So, but I appreciate you guys coming on. I wanted to get this over with tonight. I'm not doing an experience show. I'm probably going to do. Maybe I have an idea about some Steelers stuff because I'm very close to getting. We're getting close to 500, and we want to get to 500 so we can get monetized. And it's very hard. And I got to push out more content. Believe me, I would love to do this every day and talk wrestling and comic books and Steelers football and do whatever and and get what I have to do. But I appreciate everybody that supports me, and I support everybody that does support me. If they share my stuff, I share their stuff. That's just how it works. But I'm gonna probably watch a couple Hulk Hogan matches here. I don't know. I don't know which his best one would be. Maybe him and The Rock, and then maybe him and Piper. Maybe the war to settle the score, or something like that. Or WrestleMania 3. I mean, Pontiac was 93,000. The numbers were spiked a little bit, but look, it's just a sad day for wrestling. Hulk Hogan paved the way for every wrestler, whether he fought somebody liked or whatever. He was the one that took the ball and ran with it with Vince McMahon, and it was the his charismatic ability. Because back in the day, the WWF used to run two shows, so they used to run two shows a day. You know what I mean? Um, and they used to run all the time. So, and without Hulk Hogan, there wouldn't be any WrestleManias, and the WWE wouldn't have been $1 trillion business for Vince to sell. And things were different at that time in the 80s and whatever. Times have changed. I understand that. But you know what? Everybody paved the way. Lewis and Clark paved the way for expansion in the United States. If it wasn't for Lewis and Clark, we'd still be all living on the East Coast, maybe. Yeah. I mean, he had a couple movies, No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando, Thunder Lips, the iconic Thunder Lips in Rocky 3. I mean, he's done everything. I mean, his movie career wasn't as good as The Rock. The Rock's movie career is good, but Hogan's wrestling career was way better than The Rock's. in my opinion. And he blazed a path for those guys to get into Hollywood too. Austin and The Rock and Cena and stuff like that. So it always starts with one, and it started with Hulk Hogan. So, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys for. I got a headache now too. I'm so emotionally distraught, just because it's just I don't know. It just sucks. Uh, I'm gonna let you know, brother. I'm gonna let you know. I want to get situated for that. I might come back on later. I might talk some Steelers football because today was day one in a 95-degree heat. So that's what I got to look forward to because God bless the Steelers. And I just everybody I know and fans or everybody's older. So I feel being 54, when you see people that pass, it kind of sucks. Yeah, I didn't see this one coming. And I wish I would have met him, but I didn't. But I do have a lot of Hulk Hogan merchandise. So, and look, you know, it's a shame that he got booed. But in my opinion, if he would have been on, if he would have been in, if he had been in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, coming out on Netflix Raw, he'd have been cheered. So, you know what I mean? That's just how it was. But guys, thank you guys so much for coming on and seeing me. This is unlike. I don't do this. Maybe I get more emotional the older I get. But hey, Kal-El, if you're still listening, don't let those fucking people fucking get you down because you'll be picking fucking SummerSlam picks next Friday night like gangbusters. So, okay, guys, I appreciate you guys all coming on this quick impromptu little thing, which I did not know that it happened. You know, look, God bless Hulk Hogan, and my condolences to Hogan's family and friends and all his fans all over the world. So, I mean, what you gonna do, brother? That was iconic. And they say Hulkamania lives forever. Okay, guys, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you. Whew, what a day.